Right, let's look now to ActionSA Gauteng chairperson and a former caucus leader, Funzi Ngobeni, who joins us now for more on that story. Funzi, good to have you, and thank you very much for your time. You were sitting right across me last week, or at least 2 weeks ago, and I asked you this question. I said, if you want the city back, you would need to get Patriotic Alliance on your side. You said a week is too short in politics. Something is afoot. Something will certainly happen. So it seems you had a plan, and the Patriotic Alliance was on board, and the DA let you down.
Yeah, and good evening to your viewers as well. That's correct, Thabo. There was engagement with the DA. In fact, Dr. Mulder from the Freedom Front personally approached the DA and had a conversation with the leader of the DA. And there was obviously that engagement happening up until last night, when the DA informed us that they will not be attending and they will be pushing for their position to dissolve the municipality. Something that we really disappointed us. But yeah, it's as you say, Thabo, a day is too long in politics. 7 days ago, Colleen Makhubela resigned, and today there was a council meeting to elect a new speaker. And we wish Councillor Margaret Arnolds well. We would have wanted to have one of our colleagues in the multi-party coalition, sitting on that chair, but unfortunately the DA disappointed us again, and the residents of the city.
Who would have been that candidate? Were you ready to propose a candidate? Who would have been that candidate to sit on that speaker's chair?
Yeah, we had a few options. Firstly, the engagement, I think, with the DA was very open to say, let's have a discussion, because this was not only about the speaker. This was also to see that we can be able to retain, governance in the city of Johannesburg, and we were open to even engage with the DA on what they think of a possible candidate. Subsequent to that, we also had ideas in terms of bringing one of the IFP colleagues, to very capable colleague in the IFP. The ACDP has also a very capable candidate that we could have put forward. But the group of parties that were in council today, ACDP, Freedom Front, plus UIM, ActionSA and IFP, then resolved that, considering that we don't have the required numbers, to even really contest, let's just abstain and let the process continue without us.
Yeah.
Obviously, Councillor Arnold was elected unopposed because of that.
The idea of dissolving council, has that idea being canvassed and engaged on with the other members of the multi-party charter? Extensively, that is, or is it just a DA position and they are just keeping their position and they're not trying to bring you on board on that idea?
It has not been canvassed with any of the parties I've mentioned, which are in the multi-party charter, and that are former, coalition partners of the DA in Johannesburg, and that confirms, our suspicion that it is a gimmick. The DA knows very well that. There's no chance of that happening. They are trying to pretend as if they care about the residents of the city of Johannesburg, and by putting this motion forward. But the truth is that really they don't care. This is the fourth time that we have an opportunity to retain power and be able to get capable people to lead the city of Johannesburg, and the DA has let down the city's residents again. So. Quite unfortunate, and it's amazing that they are saying all types of reasons of why they couldn't attend today, and all of them, if you look at them, they really are found wanting. I heard the caucus leader saying extraordinary meeting, we're spending a lot of money. These are meetings of council, and they are legislated, they are in the council rules. There's nothing wrong with calling a meeting to elect a speaker 7 days after the former speaker resigned. And if the DA thinks that the extraordinary meetings needs to be, removed of the council rules, then they should, follow the process to do so. But these are the same rules, Thabo, that the DA relied on when they went to court just a few weeks ago. And they were very happy that they got the result in court, which that result is being appealed, and we're waiting for the Superior Court to look at that. But the same DA talks about millions and millions of money being spent on this extraordinary meeting, but they are the same party that voted that they should get increases. They voted with the ANC on that matter. So it's quite unfortunate, but I think the voters will actually decide on that, because they can see exactly which parties really cares for the residents of Johannesburg, which bends every time to try and get things going, and the other one who always try to obstruct and stop us from doing the right thing.
So one would look at this and say this is almost a practice run. I mean, if the multi-party coalition is not working at local government level, imagine what would happen if we let these guys run national government, when they can't just agree on a simple thing as to who's going to be the Speaker of Council.
Thabo, that's not how we look at it. From our point of view, being partners doesn't mean that we must like each other. It doesn't mean that we must agree with each other on everything. It means that we must hold each other accountable. We must call each other out when we do silly things like what the DA is currently doing. In Tshwane, it's an example that when the DA was really messing around, not wanting to negotiate and talk to the unions, we held them accountable. We stood firm to say that must happen. And eventually when that happened, the strike ended. And today we are talking in Tshwane, where the mayor and the city are talking to the unions, and there is progress and there's something happening. It confirms that coalition do work, and it works if parties hold each other accountable in the public. We must not, be going in dark rooms and smoke-filled dark rooms and hold each other accountable there. We must do that in public, and the residents must then be the judge of what is happening. It's something that we must encourage in all coalitions, whether it's our coalition or any other coalition. That if a partner goes and do the wrong things, don't go around trying to defend them and play games. Come out and then hold them accountable, even if you have to do that in public. So we don't see it as something that demonstrates that coalition do not work. It actually shows that parties will hold each other accountable, will call each other out, and eventually we'll find those parties working together and to the benefit of the residents.
One might say not necessarily that coalitions don't work. I'm sure healthy coalitions certainly work, but the current coalition that you have with the Democratic Alliance, as you put it, 4 times, seemingly at the last minute, letting you down on some critical decisions that would have seen you taking over the administration of the City of Johannesburg. One would say that particular coalition is not bearing fruit.
Yeah, and Thabo, like I say, we must not get tired of persuading each other and demonstrating to the Democratic Alliance that, in fact, residents of Johannesburg will benefit if it's a multi-party coalition rather than a coalition that is run by the ANC and the EFF. That's the point that we continue to make, to say, even if bringing the PA on board, it's better than having the ANC and EFF coalition currently running the city. The Metro Center, where every service delivery process needs to happen, it's closed, and most of the officials are at home and don't have access to emails. These are some of the things that could have been avoided had we or had the DA in particular acknowledged that it's important that we must have our coalition rather than this other one running the city. So we must not stop persuading them. But again, also, the voters, in the next year elections will also have an opportunity to punish us and punish those that have demonstrated that they don't understand, when we say the interest of the residents comes first. It's not a party, it's the interest of the residents that must come first. And I'm sure the voters will look at this and they will realize that ActionSA, IFP, ACDP, Freedom Front Plus, UIM, these parties have demonstrated time and again that indeed they care for the residents of Johannesburg. They want to see things changing, but they've been let down by the Democratic Alliance. And we hope that they will be able to demonstrate that even in the ballot.
Funzi Ngobeni, I appreciate your time. Thank you very much for joining us. Well, let's hear you, the voter, what your thoughts are. Have you got patience for the disjointed coalition, seemingly, that's operating in the city of Johannesburg as far as decisions are concerned? What are your thoughts? 072-110-5584. Send us a message on X at Newzroom 405.